Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Wise Woman podcast. I am so excited to be present with all of you. We are here with Britni today, co-founder of Food by Fare. Britni, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
We are Chicago women, both have these entrepreneurial routes. I was just sharing before we hopped on how I started my career opening up health food restaurants in Chicago. So tell us about Fare. How did you even feel called to create something that obviously the city everywhere needs, but Chicago really needed as well?
Yes, it was, Kasia and I, my business partner and co-founder, she and I worked at the Gibson's Restaurant Group for years together, and we were in our early 20s at the time, figuring out what it meant to be healthy, to feel good, to kind of nourish our bodies. And we were just both kind of on this journey at the same time. So learning to cook in our first like kind of big girl jobs out of college, living on our own and being the ones responsible for feeding ourselves and knowing that we loved good food. We worked around it all the time, but it was more indulgent. And so we really rejected this idea that healthy food had to be qualified, right? That it has to have that it couldn't just be delicious food. It had to always be like it had a disclaimer, right? It was healthy, so that meant that maybe it wasn't as delicious or not as satisfying or craveable. And we knew that that wasn't the case from our own experimenting that we were doing. So we started bringing very similar looking lunches into the office and eventually kind of joined forces to cook together really purely just for fun on the weekends because we had the time to, and that's what we did. And then we started sharing it with friends. People really enjoyed it. They were surprised by how good healthy food could be. And we thought like, okay, maybe we have something here. Let's test some things out. We actually thought we wanted to create a protein bar. So we set out to do that first. And we quickly realized we just didn't really have like the food science background and knowledge to create what we had envisioned in our mind. So we just kept cooking, started doing a little bit of catering, and then had the opportunity to create a business plan and eventually found a space that was perfect for us to get started. It was in a food hall on Wells and Wacker. That was in 2018. And the space we had originally envisioned for Fare was this kind of all-day cafe where you would come in, hang out, maybe could be like a third space for you to even work in. We'd have great products on the shelves that you could buy and breakfast and smoothies and all these, a very robust menu. And when we realized how much money it was going to take for us to create a space like that, we quickly had to pivot. And when we found this food hall space, it was only 300 square feet. So we really had to take all those big ideas and think like, how can we service people on, a line that's 6 feet long without a big kitchen, no black irons. We were basically cooking out of high-powered convection ovens. Like we really had to get innovative fast. And it's really what has shaped the Fare that you know today. So we serve seasonal meals with really clean, transparent ingredients. And the service style is assembly line style, where you go down and build your own beautiful bowl or salad with all these vibrant fresh vegetables, proteins, like clean proteins, super clean sauces. We only use olive oil in those and just tons of flavor and everything. So you build your own bowl, but that wouldn't have happened had we not been forced to kind of think about the concept in a much smaller footprint. And so that's kind of where Fare was born. And many things have happened since then, but that's where we started.
Brittany, this is amazing. I'm so happy for you. This is so wonderful. It's so necessary. It changes everything when we have high quality, delicious, beautiful, healthful food that we can eat easily throughout the day. What is something, if I were to come in today, what is a possible bowl that I could design for myself?
So yeah, we change the menu 4 times a year, but we do keep some kind of standard menu items that people love and can kind of ground ground your bowl. So you start with a base, and that can either be our house grains, which is a mix of black and brown rice, organic arugula. We also have kale, which I can tell you a little bit more about the beautiful kale that we grew this summer later. And then you start with that as your base. You can combine any of those. And then there's 7 different seasonal toppers is what we call them. And that's anything from right now, what we have on the menu. We have a farro and chickpea salad with tons of fresh parsley and mint. We have a shredded carrot salad with cumin and a little bit of honey. We have beets with a horseradish yogurt. And then some staples would be like our harissa sweet potatoes. So those are really a fan favorite. Many people get them on their bowl. It's probably the most popular topper. So those are like some great sweet potato wedges that are slowly roasted. So the natural sugars of the sweet potato are really able to you get their full flavor. And then we enhance those with a house-made harissa powder and a little bit of maple syrup. We have a green goddess slaw. Mac and cheese, if you wanted to indulge in something like that. And what we love about what we do is we can create these really comforting foods that people can, again, you can kind of take it as far as you want, right? For some people, putting mac and cheese on their kale does feel really healthy. And you know that you're getting like a really good quality mac and cheese. There aren't any stabilizers, weird ingredients. It's a local cheddar and Parmesan. We're making the roux in-house. It's a great quality pasta. So we're really giving you some comforting flavors as almost like a gateway into the rest of the menu. But then you can top it with a protein, lots of clean proteins. Sauces is something that we're big on at Fare. We're always encouraging to use at least one sauce, more if you're up for that. But again, they're all simple ingredients. Nothing really has more than 10 ingredients in it. And so my go-to bowl right now, I was asked this question yesterday. My hack is I skip the base. I do no base on the bottom because I really want to like do all the hearty vegetables. I do the beets, the farro and chickpea, and then we have a cauliflower and roasted cabbage dish right now. I put a piece of salmon on it with our tahini and herby pesto, and it's so good.
Oh my God, that sounds so good. That's the best part when you work in the food industry and you get to have these beautiful meals every day while you're working. This is so wonderful.
Yes.
I'm so happy for you. We were talking about the kale before we started recording. Can you tell us a little bit about how the soul of the kale?
Yes. So we take our ingredients very seriously, and we're all about ingredient transparency. We want people to feel really confident and comfortable eating at Fare, knowing that there's so many different dietary restrictions and ways and preferences that people are eating that they can really go there and confidently choose items based on what their needs are. And so when you're cooking food that's so simple and you're really just looking to enhance their natural flavors and goodness, you have to start with a really high quality product first. You can't start with crappy ingredients because then you just have to use extra things to cover it up and make it actually taste delicious. And so a really big initiative for us, and when we think about the future of Fare and where we want to go and how we want to evolve as a brand, the more locations we have, the more buying power we have, the more power that we have to influence the supply chain from the beginning. And that could look like contracting foods with farmers and local partners to grow things a certain way and to really understand what the health of their soil is and what their growing practices are. And that's what's really exciting about growing. And so we had this really amazing opportunity, even at our small size of 4 locations, to work with a local farm here in Long Grove called the Institute of Soil and Soul. Gabe, the founder of the farm, has become a very close friend and supporter of what we do. And he generously said, take a few rows of my market garden, grow your kale here, and let's kind of just see how the process goes. So we really got to experiment and partner on that together. So we prepped the beds in the spring, just around this time last year. And then we were able to take our team there for planting day. We planted like over 300 kale plants, and then throughout the season, I tended to those with some of our team members, with my children. I was able to bring them along, which was such a gift to be able to show them the whole process of, we planted this, we're caring for it, we're harvesting it, and it really brings like a different level of appreciation to what's on their plate. And I think kids, this is a whole nother conversation, but is the best place to start with things like this, because they are the future for us, and we are in such a scary place with our soil health, with just food production in general, that like we really need these kids to buy into this young and understand the importance of our relationship to where our food comes from. So that was such a gift to be able to bring them along on that journey. But then to go, I'd get up the mornings that we would harvest. I'd get up at like 4 a.m, head to the farm, pick the kale, and bring it to the restaurants. And like I was delivering it to our locations. And it was just such a gratifying and satisfying thing to be able to do, to drop this kale off that we had all planted together, that was being cared for by us and by Gabe's team at Soil and Soul. And then to like see people follow that journey. We shared a lot of it on social media, and be really genuinely excited to come in and get this kale that they got to see us grow. It was an incredible experience, and one that really helped kind of like reinvigorate me. I think as an entrepreneur and a founder, when you're working on your business, you're eating and sleeping and breathing it, like you get tired sometimes, and you need those moments of like inspiration where you're like, okay, brings you back to your why. Why did I do this? Because I care. I wanted to give people a place to go that they can really trust the ingredients and where the food's coming from. And so that was just a very significant moment for us as a brand, and personally too.
Britni, that social media post of seeing the founder of your company, you, hands in the dirt, cultivating the earth, pulling the vegetable, the kale, that is now on the food line across the city that we can eat. It's almost as if you're consuming the love, the connection, the nutrients. Because I have this background with Protein Bar, which is another health food restaurant in Chicago, and just knowing how they supplied their food as well, I think the work they're doing, how Protein Bar started and highlighted quinoa, like quinoa was such a craze in 2012, 2013. It was such a superfood, still is. And the way that you are weaving in this local sourcing, it's beautiful, it's profound, it's so needed, you're so cool, that's amazing. And I love it. I eat it up. I think it's the best thing ever, because you're bringing God back into
Yeah.
food. Like the connection is there. And when you're in the loop, when you're in the city and you have 30 minutes to go take a lunch break and to feed yourself something that actually has value for your spirit, your soul, proper nutrition, you're changing lives. It's beautiful. It's amazing. I love to hear it. And you're expanding.
When I was there, when I was there, actually, I'll just share quickly on the farm. The first few times I was helping Gabe and planting and harvesting this food, I was like emotional, and I said, I feel like this is what I'm meant to do. This is my calling, to be growing this food and be close to my food in this way. And he was kind of like, I get where you're coming from, but like, this isn't like a special feeling. This is what most people feel when they get the opportunity to be in the dirt in this way, because it really just is in all of us. And so I felt like I was having this profound special moment, and it still was like a very moving moment to me, but he was kind of like, yes, like, I'm not surprised. And this is what most people feel if they give themselves the gift of spending time in a place like this. You realize that you're connected to the earth in a way that we've just all forgotten. And so that was really special. Yeah.
We prioritize so many different relationships in our lives, and one of the most important ones, this is why the regenerative farming movement is such a mainstream conversation. It's being in relationship with nature, and you get high from that. It's a
Yeah.
drug, and it sounds like you
Yeah.
experienced that high.
I did. Yeah. Yes.
That's beautiful. I'm
And
so happy
we
for
are
you.
expanding. Yes. I'm sorry. I cut you off with
No
my,
worries.
my farm story. But we can move on.
Yeah. Where are you expanding to?
So we currently, all our locations are in the Loop, which has been great because it's, I think people are very appreciative to have an offer and an option outside of, Chipotle, which isn't a bad option, but these things that we have kind of been around and that we know are quick and okay-ish for us. So it's been really nice to meet people there in that place. And that's where we started back in 2018. So we have 2 food hall locations. We have one standalone store on Franklin between Monroe and Madison, so right in the heart of the Loop. And then we have one at Northwestern Hospital, which was another exciting place for us to be, just because, people are there for all different kinds of reasons. But, if you follow food and chronic illness closely, you know how linked those 2 things are. And so to be able to, again, offer in a place where people are trying to get well, an option for food that actually is good for you was an opportunity we were excited about. So we are expanding still in Chicago. We're opening a neighborhood location in Oak Park and Logan Square, a couple more in the Loop, and then we are opening a location in Charlotte, North Carolina, early 2026. So very excited for what's on the horizon, and just to bring more awareness to what we do and to FAIR as a brand.
It's so beautiful and it's brilliant. And I'm familiar with all of those locations because that's where we started Protein Bar as well, by the Cirrus Willis Tower in Northwestern Hospital. And to know that you are bringing this beautiful food there for the people who need it most, that's wonderful. I'm so happy for you guys. You shared a little bit about your background, and a conversation we had before is this balance between motherhood and being in love with your work and in love with motherhood, and trying to balance it all. As somebody who is currently doing that dance, I know you have 3 daughters. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, it's been, so I had Cecilia, our oldest, and she was born in 2014, and that's when we formed our LLC for FAIR. So I was actually, didn't even know it, but was pregnant at the time, when we were just kind of getting things
Wow.
started. So really, motherhood and my journey with entrepreneurship and founding FAIR have gone very much hand in hand from the very beginning. And at times, many times, I have doubted that I can do any of it well, much less all of it well. And so it's been, yeah, a balancing act would probably be an understatement, but having children along with like building a business has been really a gift. It's taught me a lot about myself. Being able to have the kids like very much involved with what I do has shown, I've been able to show them a lot of things, bring them along, and they've learned a lot along the way. And it's pretty sweet now. Every time they have an idea, they try to turn it into a business. They've got like business cards and a logo, and like, they're figuring out how to monetize it, which I love that I've been able to spark that like entrepreneurial spirit in them. But yes, I would be lying if I said that it's easy and that you can have it all the time, because I truly don't think that that's true. There are times when you need to give more of yourself as a mother or as a business person. And those aren't always at the times that those things need your attention, or it's at a time that's inconvenient for the other. And so you're constantly, trying to figure out how to do both. But I think having a strong support system and also pouring into yourself is something that I'm still learning to do, but makes such a big difference that you feel, how could I possibly take any more time away from my kids or away from my business? But if you don't, you literally cannot do any of it. You have to be in service to yourself still first, and do things that fill your cup so that you can pour into everybody else around you. So that is a lesson I've definitely learned the hard way, but something that I know is like most important for me being able to show up for anyone in any role.
So what are some of the things you do for yourself that allow you to be the best co-founder, business owner, mother?
I think I really value alone time a lot more and being with myself. And that's taken time. And the things that I like to do are, I love like a good workout. So something where I'm moving my body. I love to be outside. Spending time at the farm has been something, incorporating that time into my weekly routine has made a big difference for me. And like building community outside of the circles that I'm already in every day. I was meeting new people on the farm. I go to a workout class by myself. I meet new people there. It's like great to build community outside of the identity that you have as a mother or as a founder. I've actually recently started going to the sauna club. It's a really cool, I don't even know what to call it, a club. It's a cool club in Chicago. It's in the northern suburbs in Evanston, actually. So Ryan, the founder, he has a couple wood burning saunas. He brings them right up to, I went this morning. I go every Thursday. From 6 to 6:30 in the morning. The sauna is right next to the lake. And so you go in the sauna. I usually go for 15 minutes. I go jump in the lake, which I did this morning. You come back into the sauna, and then I end typically on cold, just for that like shock cold therapy. And what's again been great about that is I didn't know anybody. I was brought by a friend, but then I started going every Thursday, and it was 10 other people that I hadn't met before, didn't know, and now are my friends, and I see them every week. And it's been such a beautiful thing. The sauna's too hot to bring a phone in, so that no one has their phones. And you're doing this thing that, especially through the winter months, is hard. You're doing it together. You're sweaty in there, like great conversations start. And then what it's doing to your body, like it just feels so good to heat up in that way. Wood burning saunas, I have found, are so different than these like infrared saunas. The smell is beautiful, and they just get hotter, and it's like a little bit more of an intense heat. And so that has been like something I have to look forward to every week. I feel like when I'm done, I've accomplished something. I also feel like for the next 6 hours after that, I could do like literally anything. I have so much energy. I just look healthier. It's been really great. So those are a couple of things that I love to do to just ground me and feel like I'm doing something for myself before I start doing things for everybody else.
This is such a balance of how can we show up for ourselves, our children, our business as well. And I love hearing of all these different wellness modalities that are popping up in Chicago. There's incredible things that are coming to be of when you are focusing on fare. Like, are you ever in the physical space seeing what people are eating, like conversations that they're having? Are you connecting with your consumer in that way as well during lunchtime?
Yes. Yeah. We try to be at all the locations, at least once a week or as often as we can. Less lately with all of the new things popping up and construction needs. But yes, it's very important to us to see actually how people are experiencing the brand and the food, get their real-time feedback, and whether that's like introducing a new operational efficiency to get people through the line faster, or is an item that we thought would hold up well, not really holding up as well as it did in our recipe testing, or flavors that we might like that aren't as universal to everybody else, or something that really sometimes surprises us, things that people are asking for. And so it's really important for us to, yes, be there and also rely on our team, because they're, at one point it was Kasia and I there every single day, making the food, serving the food, interacting with every single person. And we needed to do that at the beginning. And I still get behind the line sometimes. And I actually love doing that. It gives me, a lot of energy. And I probably slow everybody down, but I love to talk. I love to talk and just see their faces and excitement, when they're eating something that was a vision and now is right in front of you. But now we really are, we're always trying to empower our team to pass on any knowledge to the customers, and to be that. Now they're the face of fare, right? Then it gives them, they have to bring the energy and excitement and give us the feedback that they kind of get on a daily basis. So we rely a lot on their feedback as well. But we actually just did, in our new locations, we'll be launching kids menus in our suburban and neighborhood location, which we're really excited about. So we actually had this kids event. We brought in about 60 kids to the space and had them go through the line and fill out questionnaires and answer some things for us and get their feedback. And so we know how valuable it is to actually hear from the people who are eating the food, and we pay very close attention to that.
Between you and Kasia, when you are building something, what are some of the things that are your territory, your zone of genius, and what do you want her to almost take over? What is her zone of genius?
Yeah, we do very different things. We have completely different brains, and it's why our partnership is successful, and it's why Fair is successful too. But it's great because we really kind of can stay in our own lane. It's important for us to understand what the other person is doing, but I focus on our branding, marketing, stepping into a little bit more of a menu innovation and creation role. And Kasia really is all about operational efficiencies, our finances, investor relations, the numbers side of the business. And so we come together still to create the menu. We create the menu together. And that's something that, I kind of compare it to a romantic partnership, as if we're married, because I see her more than I see my husband, and probably have spent more time with her over the years than I have with him. But we still, just like in a long-term partnership of any kind, you have to be able to have fun and experience joy together too. And that's where our joy is. It's why we started the business, the passion. What we love to do is to cook, and we're really good at doing that part together. And then we can kind of go off and do our separate things and make sure that all those parts are working nicely for the business. But so we kind of overlap on food and menu creation, and then we stay separate in everything else.
It's so nice to have that combination and to find a partner that does the things that you don't want to do, or has exceeded intelligence in the things that maybe aren't your favorite thing to focus on. Where do you see Fair 10 years from now?
Well, we see it in many more places than Chicago. So we'd love to be a national brand. That is the goal. I think that every city could use a fair. And the more, maybe 10, even when Protein Bar was starting, health and wellness still felt like a trend. And it is far beyond that at this point. This is a lifestyle, a movement. And we want you to feel like that when you come to a fair, that you're not just going there to get a meal, that you're going there because you trust that this is an authentic way that you want to live your life, and this is authentic intentional food that we're providing for you. So we really see ourselves in a lot of different cities. There's lots of places, ideas that we have that we'd like to be. Austin is actually one of them. Maybe Denver, DC, Charlotte. We're going into Charlotte. That'll be our first market outside of Chicago. So really kind of creating these little epicenters everywhere, and then growing from there. So many more locations in 10 years. But
Amen. Fair for all. So much health,
Yes.
beautiful food for people who
Yes.
want to eat and connect to their plate in a deeper way. Assuming
Yeah.
this episode goes viral, what is some wisdom you would like to share with listeners?
Ooh, some wisdom. There's so many lessons that have been learned throughout this process, but I think that um, one big one is to just stay true to your vision. I think, are you solving a problem that you really care about? Like, what is that problem, founder problem fit? If it's there, like, that is your North Star that you can keep returning to when things get difficult, because they most certainly will. I think if I were giving advice to a new entrepreneur or somebody who wanted to start something, I would say that there has to be a certain level of naivety to just, at some point, you just have to do it. You're never going to have all the information. Nothing's ever going to be perfectly buttoned up. That if you really care about something and authentically care about it, like, those are going to build the greatest businesses. So to just, to kind of keep coming back to the why of why you started. And another big piece of advice would be, like, don't be afraid to ask questions. And this would be in any area of life. I think a lot of times we let our ego get in the way of us understanding what we need to get to the next place. And learning is just, it's part of the process, and you're never going to learn unless you are unafraid to ask the questions. And that's something that I wish I knew earlier on.
I love asking questions. It's the most powerful way to learn, to connect to people, to dive
Yeah.
deeper. Where can
Yeah.
people find you? Where can people find Fair?
Yes, you can find us in Chicago currently at 4 locations, and you can find all those locations on our website. That'd be the best place to go, and that is foodbyfair.com. You can also follow us on Instagram at foodbyfair. Lots of fun adventures to follow along there.
Thank you so much, Britni. We're so happy to have you. Thanks for being on the Wise Woman podcast.
Thank you for having me.